Hey, so quick question for you. When you wake up in the morning, do you have some sort of way of knowing what priorities that you and your team should be working on? Can you like look at a dashboard and say, "Oh my God, here are our economics, here are the priorities that we have in the business, here are the estimated impact those priorities have on our business," right? Most people have no idea. They don't have an actual what I call profit model, right? That's what I teach is how to build scalable profit models. So like they don't have a profit model where they know that hey, we have 50,000 things that we could do in our business, but how do we prioritize those things? How do we look at that list of 50,000 things and say we're doing this one, and we're doing this one first, this one second, this one third? Most people don't have any sort of dashboard, any sort of system, any sort of anything. They don't even have the data to be able to tell them. Most people don't even know what their contribution margin. They don't know what their overhead per customer is. They don't know their lifetime value by time frame. Like, what's your lifetime value? Month 1, month 3, month 6, month 12 in each cohort by traffic channel. Most people don't have these things. And it makes it so that you're flying completely blind, right? Most people, that's what I talk about is like a lot of people come up to me and they're like, I just feel like I'm flying blind. I'm making decisions based on my gut and I need to make decisions. Like I have to figure out some sort of system. There's no like, a lot of people talk about operating systems, right? So for your operations, no one talks about a profit operating system, right? How do you know, or even like a priority operating system? You know what I mean? Like nobody has this system where they can just look and they know exactly what lever to pull in what scenario at what point and how. Like very few people have systems like that. And the ones that do have that system are 8-figure companies. They are the ones that have it. And the thing that I always try to explain to people, because a lot of times I'll say that to people that are 6, 7 figures or whatever they are, just less than 8 figures, and they'll say, yeah, but that's because they're at 8 figures that they're able to have those sorts of things. And my response is no, 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 no. They had those things which allowed them to get to 8 figures. And that's the difference. When you have we'll just call it a profit operating system that shows you exactly what your priorities are and exactly what opportunities you have and can model out like, hey, if we added our contribution margin, if we added 10% to our contribution margin, what does that do for our profit? If we renegotiated with our manufacturer, how does that affect our cash flow? If we got rid of 2 employees, how does that affect our profit? How would that impact our operational models, right? If we looked at our lifetime value and we doubled our lifetime value because our lifetime value is low right now because we don't have much. So hey, let's focus on that. But if we did that, what do we have to hit? Like, what are our goals? Where are we now versus where we want to be? And how do we model out what needs to happen to go from here to here? Right? Those are the types of things that I'm working with my clients on a daily basis. And it just makes business so much simpler, right? Business is really complicated, or it can be really complicated, I should say. And the reason for that is because the foundation is not built. Most people that are selling stuff today, especially in the DTC space, don't have the traditional foundational business skills that allow them to understand how their business operates as one holistic unit, right? They look at things from a marketing perspective because that's what their ad agency told them they need is more customers, right? But they're not looking at things like contribution margin and like, okay, again, like I always think in terms of we're here and we want to be here. What has to happen to go from here to here, right? That's how I look at everything. That is my framework for everything. We're here, we want to go here. What has to happen to get there? And what has to happen because there are a million ways to make that journey, right? But some ways take 10 years to get there. Some ways could take a year. Some ways could take 3 days to get there. I've done it many times with my clients where they wanted to double their profit and they were focusing on marketing. And I went in and I found something like some sort of operational issue, or maybe their contribution margin was super low because they were delivering the product in a completely wrong way, or they had too many features on the product, or whatever it is. I've seen all sorts of scenarios. And I can literally show them how to get from A to Z in like a matter of a few days instead of taking months or years and tons of stress and tons of like resources required and all that kind of stuff, right? Business can be as simple or as complex as you make it, right? And I think that's kind of the main message with all this is like when you're sitting down and you're figuring out what you do, you need some sort of plan, some sort of system that dictates what your next move should be. And most people don't have it, right? And it starts with data. That is the first thing, is getting your data correct. Because if you don't know all your numbers, how they all interact with each other, if you don't know your lifetime value, if you don't know your contribution margin, if you don't know how long it actually takes you to break even, right? What I call your capital return velocity. Like when you physical product owners have inventory, right? So a lot of people look at ROAS and they say, oh, well, I'm breaking even on day one. Like they'll just say they have 100% ROAS, which means they're breaking even. And it's like, well, I mean, you are on a gross basis and just with customers, right? But like, are you factoring in your contribution margin? Because if you're making $100 and you're spending $100, but your contribution margin is 50%, well, you're actually only keeping $50. So now you're at a 50% ROAS, not 100, right? And then, if you look at, let's just say that you break even on acquisition cost on a contribution margin basis on day one, right? So in that case, if you had a 50% contribution margin, you would have to have a 2x ROAS, right? So you're making $200 gross after 50% contribution. That's 100 that you keep, right? And you're spending 100. So, all right, cool. Now you're break even. Now, a lot of people would stop there and say, well, I'm break even, so now I can just scale that. And it's like, well, nah, not necessarily, because number one, you might have paid for inventory 2 months ago, right? You might have $50,000 in operational expenses that you have to pay off before you actually break even, because when revenue comes in, the contribution margin immediately comes out, right? And then you have to pay off your acquisition costs and your overhead costs, which is what most people forget about. And that's why I always look at overhead per customer before you break even. And once all that happens, which is what I call your profit inflection point, that's when you break even. Okay. And for most people, like I talk to a lot of physical product owners, and most people think they're breaking even in day one, within 30 days, within 60 days, whatever it is. But then we put all that in and do my capital return velocity calculator that I have. A lot of times it's 6 months, 9 months, 12 plus months, right? Depending on all your metrics. And so if you're going off the decision of, hey, we're breaking even in 30 days, but your actual break even is like 6 months, well, it's probably going to change your decisions just a little bit, right? So that is step one, is just getting your foundation in place, understanding what all your main core metrics are and what they need to be. Okay. And there's many ways to do that, right? But that is the foundation. And then that becomes your foundation for making decisions on everything that you do. So not only are you doing less, right? I am a huge fan of doing less, right? Because most people are just simply doing too much. Too much. Like I'm telling you, probably 80, 90, probably 90+% of the businesses that I look at, and I've been behind the scenes of dozens and dozens and dozens of 7 and 8 figure businesses, and 6. It is so rare for me to find a company that has very clear and focused priorities, that their whole team is all kind of gathered around, everyone's rowing in the same boat in the same direction to accomplish those goals based on actual data. Like the times that I've seen that, literally in my 20-year career, I can literally count on one hand, and I've worked with a lot of businesses, like literally, again, dozens of 7 and 8 figure businesses. And I'm telling you, the amount of times that, like, before I started working with someone, that they actually had all that in place, it's like a few, so that's what you need to do. The market is getting very crowded. It's getting very expensive, right? With AI now here to play, it's going to get even worse, right? Ad costs are just going to keep going up and up and up and up and up. And if you don't have all these things in place, right, we just have to mature as an industry. We have to get better. We have to be data driven, right? We cannot be relying on our gut emotions, which is hard. I get it, because entrepreneurship it's a very, very, very emotional journey, right? The highs, the lows, the really good revenue days where you're on cloud nine, the really bad revenue days where you think you're going to lose everything, go bankrupt tomorrow, right? I've been there. I get it. Right? And that's going to come with it. And that's exactly why you need data-driven processes that help you make decisions on what to prioritize, where you need to go, what levers you need to pull, right? So if you need any help with this, just reach out. If this helped you, like, share it with someone. If there's any links below this video, or if you're on a podcast, check the show notes, whatever, and reach out. Let me know how I can help. You can get my book, The Scalable Profit Model. Whatever method is good for you. I have stuff on scaleadvisors.com to help you, some free resources. Wherever stage you're at, get in here and learn how to do this stuff, because I'm telling you, if you don't start doing this now, you will not be alive. Not you, but your business. Your business will not be alive in whatever it is, a year, 2, 3 years, right? Because the entire market is shifting to this. The entire market is maturing. And if you get left behind, all of your competitors are going to understand how to make data-driven decisions. They're going to understand their economics. They're going to understand the psychology that's required and the marketing, like the level of marketing that's required to make it these days, right? So again, if you need any help with that, reach out. I'm here to help. Otherwise, I hope you love this video. Like, share, all the things. And yeah, I'll see you next time.